Good Saturday morning to you. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, 20-year Pentecostal preacher, Bible college graduate, over 100,000 hours of study in the biblical scriptures, 6 years in the United States Air Force, college-trained anthropologist. And here I am trying to convince you, or show you at least, the facts that I have found that show to me, based on my experience, that Christianity is a fear and guilt-based control matrix, and that you are quite likely suffering from spiritual Stockholm syndrome. I know it's easier to fool someone than it is to convince them that they've been fooled, according to Mark Twain. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying to encourage you to unindoctrinate yourself. Nice to see all of you here on a Saturday morning. At least I think it's Saturday morning. I'm not always real good on keeping track of what day it is. But welcome to the Gospel Truth Army. We are marching on. Hello to you on Twitter. Hello to you on Facebook. And hello to you on YouTube as well. I want to talk to you today about a bizarre practice. And I'm not exactly sure why I'm talking about it, other than it is bizarre. It is really weird. But more than that, hello to you in Japan, over on Twitter, Periscope, Facebook. More than it being weird, more than it being bizarre, I just wonder why. Sometimes inquiring minds just want to know. And I'm wondering, what are the implications? Are there spiritual implications? Are there energetic implications? Was it just something crazy and weird that people did? Let's take a look at the world of death mask. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, and let's take a look at this. A death mask is an image cast in wax or plaster made of a person's face immediately following death. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as a person dies, they will make/take a cast of the person's face. So what we've got are casts of dead guys. What we have are casts of dead women. And to me, it's the most bizarre thing ever. And yet, I don't know, maybe it has some rational, reasonable use. Death masks may be, according to Wikipedia, memories or mementos of the dead. They may be used for creation of portraits. And in fact, it is said that you can tell if a death mask has been used for a portrait because there's certain characteristics, and thank you for the hearts over there on Periscope, Facebook, Twitter. There are certain characteristics that the plaster does to the skin so that when someone paints a portrait from a death mask, supposedly you're able to tell that it is a death mask and not a portrait of a living person. We're talking about death mask here on the Gospel Truth Army, Christian Whistleblower, Jeffrey Daugherty, channel of extravaganza. Probably the most well-known of the death masks are the masks used in Egypt, of course, on the mummies. And the most famous of them would be Tutankhamun's death mask. And that really is a death mask. I do say that it is a little bit stylized. He might not have looked exactly like that. But it is indeed a death mask. It is indeed made from a cast taken from his face. And of course, these are much fancier than the death masks that we are talking about in many cases. But this is kind of where it started, was back in ancient Egypt with the pharaohs and with some of the things that we are familiar with. So you can see these death masks in many places. It was part of the mummification process. Now, as it came down into more modern times in European countries, they were used to make an effigy of the deceased, a whole body of the deceased, lie in state at funerals. The coffin portrait was an alternative. Mourning portraits were also painted. The function, they used to use them for unknown corpses, but of course, photography replaced that. And I'm wondering, I know that they had the ability to do embalming, so I don't know why they were making these life masks, these death masks. It's very, very, very interesting to me. Very, very weird to me. Very, very odd to me. And of course, as crazy as it is, there's many people that have had these death masks, and we'll take a look at some of them, if for no other reason than just plain curiosity. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen, and it gives you an idea of what people really looked like. Ludwig von Beethoven. There's how he's painted in sculptures, or excuse me, obviously in paintings. And here's what his death mask looked like. So, a pretty reasonable likeness, wouldn't you say? Napoleon Bonaparte. I guess when you're ruling the world, your people that paint your portraits are a little bit more kind to you than reality shows. So maybe he wasn't quite as dashing as his death in reality as his death mask shows there. But there's the death mask of Napoleon, and it's amazing how lifelike, how accurate these death masks are. I'm not sure who Oliver Cromwell is. I probably should know. James Dean. They took his death mask to another level, didn't they? And this was 1955, and they still made a death mask. Just makes me wonder what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll talk about that a little bit as we get into this. Benjamin Disraeli. Benjamin Franklin. Again, his portrait painters might have been a little more kind to him than was warranted. There's his death mask. Frederick the Great. Pretty accurate likeness, I would say. Ulysses S. Grant. Scallywag that he was from all accounts. Commander of the Union Army in the Civil War, later President of the United States. There's his death mask. Henry VII, King Henry VII. I don't know if his portrait painter did him any favors or not. How about this one? Reinhard Heydrich. Nazi. Very good likeness. Notice the smile. A little bit eerie. Heinrich Himmler. Notice the smile. What's with the Nazis going out smiling? Very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Samuel Johnson. Ned Kelly. Sans the beard. Robert E. Lee. Looks like a good likeness. Robert Lee, of course, commander of the Confederate Army. Little known fact, Arlington National Seminary, Arlington National Cemetery, they're both about the same, is on land confiscated from Robert E. Lee. Vladimir Lenin. Martin Luther. Pretty good likeness. Horatio Hornblower Nelson, the great naval captain. Sir Isaac Newton. Very good likeness. Erich Rommel. Another famed Nazi. He goes out not smiling. President Teddy Roosevelt. Very interesting. General Sherman, who burned his way through the South. Richard Wagner, German composer. Erie, Duke of Wellington. Woodrow Wilson, President of the United States. Wow. Let's see if we got a couple other ones here. Dante Alighieri. Mary, Queen of Scots, I believe that one is there. Yes, Mary, Queen of Scots. And this is John Keats, poet. There's Bonaparte again, Napoleon Bonaparte. William Blake, painter of the Great Red Dragon and Woman Clothed with the Sun. Michael Collins. John Dillinger, infamous outlaw. Interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, death masks. Ladies and gentlemen, death masks. Very interesting, very fascinating. But I have to ask myself, why? Why would they be doing death masks? Was it just a curiosity? Was it just something interesting? Or is there anything more to it? Is it capturing an energetic moment of passing from one world to the next? Or could it possibly be for capturing a likeness of a person to use their energy beyond the grave? You think of some of those people that died, Himmler, Rommel. You think of, I've seen them, of Voltaire and other people. Is it possible that they might be preserving the faces so that they can use and leverage the energetic intent of that person? I wonder if Crowley had a death mask made. I wonder if Keys had a death mask made. Is it possible that you could save the person's face and have access to the spiritual helpers, shall we say, very loosely defined? Could it be that they kept them for use in post-mortem nefarious practices, or to just take their powers? Maybe it's like eating the heart of your enemy. Maybe take a death mask and be able to leverage the powers of the person who you have the death mask of. You've listened to me for 12 minutes. Let me listen to you in the chat room. It did look like Abraham Lincoln had two different ears. Army last night, Navy this morning, absolutely. We are the Gospel Truth Army. Thank you for thanking me for my service. I appreciate that, like being in the Air Force. It was very good for me. Wayne said that 3 million are leaving Christianity. I think that he may be a little conservative. The Christian churches are emptying faster than water from a sieve, and I like to think that I have a little bit to do with that. G.I. Jeff. James Beck got his rods. Perfect. 3 million a month. I don't know about 3 million a month. That's a pretty big number, but millions are leaving. I don't know how 3 million a month could leave when there's only 1 billion. So, but anyway, a lot of people are bailing out. A lot of people are jumping ship. Don Gray says it's called life casting. King Tut probably did have a zit or two, but it's not reflected on his death mask. Follow the White Rabbit says, don't know if it's good, bad, but it is creepy. It definitely is creepy. And for me, White Rabbit, I've got some feeling in my gut, some feeling in my blink that there's more than just memorialization. There's more than just macabre fascination. I think there's something about energetic intent. I think there's something about captivating, using, leveraging the power gained by that person throughout their existence in spiritual and energetic realms. To me, they were made for posterity without the creep factor being considered. I don't know, Gary, maybe. James Dean, that's right. 1955, ladies and gentlemen. And you have to wonder, Are there still death masks for everyone and we just don't know about it? Heinrich seems to have the opposite of the elongated skull. Yep, absolutely. Shroud could be used as a powerful thing. It's one step up from the shroud, isn't it? The rods are made with copper because copper is even better than gold or silver as a conductive metal. They are creepy for sure. Paul says some of them are cool. And maybe it was just another way that people took over and made money from the dead. Chad Nelson says maybe for when AI takes over so they can assume identities. That's a good and creepy thought. Yeah, General Sherman didn't look like he ever shampooed. He was a horrible person, obviously. And I don't know how he died, but it wasn't soon enough, in my humble opinion. Sorry to hear that, Deborah Gale Hickman. Very, very sad. Our thoughts are with you. I just got my electricity, says Belinda. Good for her. So, death mask, ladies and gentlemen. And just a final thought. When you pass from this world, when you pass from this abode of the living, when you move on, what is your final facial expression going to be? Will your final facial expression be one of peace? Will it be one of terror? Will it be one of expectation? Will it be one of dread? Will it be one of happiness? Or will it be one of wonderment or even fear? Ladies and gentlemen, it's up to us to decide in this life where we will go, what we will do, what we will be in the next. I hope that I have a smile from ear to ear, looking up with hopeful expectation. Death mask, bizarre, and maybe nefarious. Don't know if there's an Elvis death mask. Very interesting. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, encouraging you to unindoctrinate yourself. By that, I mean guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, be your own guru. I salute you, Gospel Truth Army, in all 3 locations, and encourage you to march on fearlessly as you unindoctrinate yourself. What will your death mask look like? I hope that you find your answers here. So it is the death mask of jubilation, the death mask of victory, and the death mask of ascension. Stay fearless, my friends.